Well, YouTube, real quick, I wanted to show you I'm adjusting the intonation on one of my guitars. This is the guitar I'm going to be using to record some music fairly soon. So, this is for a strat type guitar, but a lot of guitars use the same type of idea with saddles that will move. Adjustable saddles, there's a screw with a spring on the end of this, so you can adjust that and move it. So, in order to adjust your intonation, what you need is a tuner. Ideally, you'd have something like a Peterson Strobo Stomp, some like really accurate, really good tuner. And what you do is you go ahead and tune your guitar and try to get it really as close to dead on as you can without any jumping on the needle. Now, my guitar, I use an alternate tuning because I'm missing these two finger tops on my front hand. So this string here, you tune it to a B. I tune it to a C. So just ignore that. But there's a little discrepancy in there, but I'm giving you just my run through of how I do this wrong. Now, how it works is these saddles need to be adjusted from time to time. It's not something you need to do every week. This is something you do once when you get the guitar. If it hasn't been set up properly, you'll need to do this. And then you do it, and it should be pretty good in there. But from time to time, check it. This is something you do when you put strings on the guitar, if you care. Or if you're going in to record or going out on a tour. This is what you do. And how you do it is very simple. You just need a screwdriver. You need see, this one is a hefty, and it's not gonna strip these screws. That's the important thing. Don't get this thing will work, but you got to really be careful. You don't want to strip your intonation screws because there's going to be pressure on them when you do it. This is something you're going to want to do real calmly with a lot of pressure. You're not going to want to get in there and strip them out. So how it works is this. My guitar, the 12th fret is these two dots. Yours is probably a flaming skull with an upside down cross in its mouth. So you start off and you hit your bass note and make sure that that needle on your tuner is not jumping around at all. It's solid. Then you go ahead and hit the 12th fret, and when you fret that, you want to lightly fret it. You don't want to do one of these, like pulling it up or pressing real hard. You just fret it perfectly. Don't pull it anywhere. Don't dig down real hard because that will make it go sharp. The note will go higher. And then you'll see that because it'll do that. It'll start going, it'll go that way, And how it works is, let's say you go through, you test your E. Now it's gone out of tune from me doing that. That's my E, the octave. The octave is good, it's not moving. My A, octave A is good. Now I do to the D string. The D is good. And the octave D is fine. The G, it's fine. The C is a little flat. And then the E. Yeah, the intonation is fine on this. Because I went through and adjusted it already. How it works is this. Let's say for instance, as an example, we'll just do it on the D string. So play the D, and it's fine. You go to the octave, it's sounding sharp. So sharp means that the note is higher than it should be. Flat is the same thing as sharp, but it's lower. So when you bend a note, if you bend with your finger and pull the note, that's sharp. If you hit a note and take your whammy bar and push down, that's flat. And that's represented on this screen by sharp goes this way or to the right, and flat goes this way to the left. So when let's say you've tuned your D and it's right in the middle, it's not jumping. If it's jumping, you need to retune it and get it so it's perfectly in tune. Then you place your finger lightly and fret on that D on that 12th fret and hit it. And let's say it's sharp. It's to the right. Well, what that means is your saddle, this thing, needs to move that way or back, because you are tuning, you're checking the intonation of the guitar at the 12th fret, and this adjuster for that string is too far towards the nut. So in that case, to move it back and to make the string longer, because you think about playing a guitar, the shorter the string, the higher the pitch. So if your tuner is showing your pitch is high a little bit, just a couple of tenths of a cent, then you need to make that string longer. And how do you do that? Well, you go to that D, so it's the third one, and you take your screwdriver and you will tighten. And by tightening, it will pull that we'll use this as an example. And this is the string. It will pull this back. So let's say that this is the length of the string. Here's my 12th fret where I'm holding my finger, and this thing is here. By pulling it this way, it's making that string longer, and it's going to lower the pitch, and it's going to move that needle right to the center where it needs to be. And when you're adjusting this intonation, I mean, typically what you see on a guitar, the way most of them are when they're right, is like that. They look like that, where it's like two staircases going up. You'll have your E, then your A, then your B, or your D, excuse me, E, A, D, and then it'll jump down and it'll be G, B, E. So they're like two ramps. And that's on a Strat. That's what they look like on a Strat. On a Les Paul, I think it's the same thing on a Les Paul. But you always, every guitar is different. That's what I've seen. The main thing is using the tuner. And that's how you do it. Tune the guitar, make sure everything's in tune, and then you start going to the 12th fret. And every time you do this procedure, you make sure that that string hasn't drifted or it's stayed at the. You gotta really be in tune. That's the secret to adjusting the intonation. And then also knowing which way to move it. If it's flat, okay, that means that the adjuster for that string is too far back. The string is too long because the pitch is low. So that means that the string length needs to be shortened. And how you do that is move the saddle towards the nut. And that adjustment is loosening or counterclockwise of the screwdriver. And when you do this, again, you don't want to be at an angle and stripping your screws. You know, this is not, you know, toke up, dude, I'm going to smoke me up. I'll come over and adjust the intonation on your guitar. Don't listen to your buddy. You can do it yourself. It's easy to do. You just got to make sure that the screwdriver that you're using is not going to strip and there shouldn't be any problem. And if you really want to be crazy about it, when you move this, back off the tension on the string. You know, loosen, lower it, take it down to where it's floppy, and then that will release a lot of pressure off of the adjuster and allow you to more freely adjust these. Along with that, you know, there's the string height adjustments, which you really don't want to get in there and mess with those unless there's a problem. But that's, you know, if you can learn how to do the intonation and then learn how to adjust your string height. Next is pickup height, and then whammy system, spring tensioning, and then after that it gets into tweaking your truss rod. And it's all pretty simple stuff. This is like, you know, it's dumb to pay somebody to do it. It really is. You should learn how to do all of this stuff yourself if you're a self-respecting guitarist. So that's how I adjust my intonation. I'm sure there's other much better ways to do it with a fancier tuner. Most of the time when I check a guitar, it's off. It's off. So it's something to consider because it makes the guitar play more in tune. And if you're like me and that bothers you, like I love this instrument, but I hate it. They don't play in tune, and I hear it, and it drives me up the wall. I can't stand playing guitar. Some guitars are better than others with that. Like this one, the guitar that I love the most, my dearly, dearly beloved guitar, this Cork 45, is horrible. And I keep thinking, oh, I ought to take it in. Well, what's the guy gonna do that I haven't already done? You know? I don't know. Is he gonna put a new nut on it and replace the bridge, or is it just the nut? Probably. So we'll see the saga of the Cork 45. I've got one guitar that's in at a luthier. It's a Les Paul. It's an Epiphone Les Paul that was gifted to me, and I glued the neck. The headstock was snapped off, clean off. Like most of the times when a headstock stacks off, it'll be like an angle break. This was like clean 45-degree angle. And I tried gluing it 4 times, and it lasted 6 months the last time I glued it. And then I took it into a luthier, and he cut these slots out of it and put these splints in there. And he gave it to me. He's like, it's not going anywhere. And I took it home, and it lasted for a week. I put it in the case, and the next time I got it out, and I played it once. I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I got it out, and so, yeah. When that's guitar's been back there for, it's coming up on 2 years. He's had it, maybe. What is that?
Whatever, I don't know. I don't think it's been 2 years. Feels like it's been 2 years.
Can you just, do you have to ruin my videos? It's been more than a year that he's had it. And I mean, I guess that's just what you deal with when you deal with a luthier, you know. But I certainly wouldn't, if it was somebody, I wouldn't have been able to go to sleep that night. If it was me, I would have been up all night working on it. And I would have called them right away and given it back. Here you go. I would have taken the neck out. I would have got a steam thing, removed the neck and put a neck in and said, here you go. But that's me, and I could never stay in business because I just let people walk all over me. You know? So we'll see the saga of the Chord 45. We'll see what happens with that guitar. It's such a cool guitar. I would really like to have it refretted, have the nut replaced, have the bridge replaced. I would love to put a tremolo system in there. I would say put a Floyd in it, you know. Like if somebody just gave me $1,000 gift certificate for the luthier, I would say, so yeah, that's how you adjust your intonation. I was playing around with the MIDI pickup. I raised the MIDI pickup and I had to change the string height because when I raised the MIDI pickup and pressed on the 12th fret, it was nubbing out. So I've got another, I really like this speed knob on here, whatever you call that type of knob. This one I didn't have. Like I put these knobs on this guitar, and they enable. I can wrap my finger around it now. Before there wasn't enough room to get my finger in there, so I really like those knobs. They're kind of expensive. I've got one coming for this, and I think I don't like the white switch tip. Like I'd like to put a black switch tip in there, and I would like to replace this pickup with something just really good. But this guitar, mostly it's played with this GK pickup because I play this through a Roland VG88 and a VG8, and to like go out of my way to replace a pickup in it, it just doesn't make sense. So it's probably going to stay stock. But the intonation's good. This is going to be the guitar that's going to be all over the new album virtually because I will be using the modeling devices. So check that out. It's going to be something spectacularly interesting, I think. I think it's going to be good. I have put in a real lot of effort on getting the studio ready and thinking about it and writing little pieces in a folder. So I'm really excited about this new album. Hopefully people will join me in listening to it when it's done. You guys have a great holiday. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.